Hi guys, Everything NFL here, and today I am back with a brand new video going over if I think the Raiders will compete in the AFC West or not. And before we get into the video quickly guys, I just want to thank you guys so much for the support recently on the channel. It's been fantastic. My Cardinals video is now over 390 views, so everyone go onto my channel and go and watch that, try and get to 400 views. That will be sick. And also I now have a Patreon, like I said in yesterday's video, and if you guys want to donate, feel free to. It's in the description below, the username and the link as well. And also my Instagram will be down below, so go give me a follow on Instagram. And yeah, no more messing about, let's continue with the video. After a great start to the 2019 season, the Raiders looked like outsiders to make a wildcard spot in the playoffs. But after some poor performances late on in the season, the Raiders slumped to a 7-9 finish. Can they improve on that and beat competitors in an extremely tough AFC West division that includes the Super Bowl champions Kansas City Chiefs, a young up-and-coming Denver Broncos roster, and a loaded Los Angeles Chargers defense and a young offense? We will be going over that in today's video. Let's start with offense and work our way to defense like we always do. Under center, the Raiders have a good but inconsistent starter and quarterback in Derek Carr, who a lot of people blame for the Raiders' inconsistency, but I think it's unfair because Carr is doing the best with what he has. Carr was okay in 2019 with a stat line of 4,054 passing yards, 21 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, and a 70.4 pass completion percentage, which is really, really good. A stat line which can undoubtedly be improved on, but Carr didn't have adequate weapons to help him succeed, but he did well with what he had. At running back, the Raiders have a young star going into his second year in Josh Jacobs, who was drafted 24th overall in 2019 out of Alabama. He shined in his rookie year and was in the running and in contention for Offensive Rookie of the Year. He had an impressive stat line with 1,150 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns. He also averaged an impressive 4.8 yards per carry, a fantastic rookie year, which Raiders fans will be hoping he can add to and improve on and be the full-time starting running back for the team going forward. The Raiders have a good offensive line with some solid names on it. Colton Miller, who was selected 15th overall in 2018 out of UCLA, has been injured a bit, but good when he plays. On the other side at right tackle, we have Trent Brown, great right tackle to anchor the other side of the line, came over from the Patriots in the 2019 offseason, signed a big contract. And Richie Incognito and Gabe Jackson make up the guard spots, and Rodney Hudson is also one of the best centres in football to anchor the centre of the offensive line. And at tight end, the Raiders have breakout star Darren Waller, who broke out after some inconsistency and off-the-field issues last year. He broke out finally last year with a fantastic season of 90 receptions for 1,145 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. Was undoubtedly the Raider Nation's best pass catcher in 2019, and Raiders fans will be hoping for more of the same in 2020. At wide receiver, they have Tyrell Williams, who came over from the Los Angeles Chargers in the 2019 offseason. He had a solid season with 42 receptions for 651 yards and 6 touchdowns. Other solid options include Zay Jones, who they traded a 5th-round pick for. 5th-round pick to the Buffalo Bills for Zay Jones. He hasn't really done a lot. I don't really think too much of Zay Jones. And Hana Renfro was out of Clemson. He had a solid year with 49 receptions, 605 yards, and 4 touchdowns in 2019, which was his rookie year. And Hunter Renfro is great. I think he's very underrated. He's a good receiver. He's a good third receiver or fourth receiver to have on your team. He's just solid depth. He's not a true number 1. He's not a number 2, but you can always rely on him to either make a play in the slot or be your 4th receiver. They also added Nelson Agholor in free agency from the Philadelphia Eagles, but I don't understand this move whatsoever because Nelson Agholor is not very good, and I'm not afraid to say that. He was ranked 111th out of 121 wide receivers based on Pro Football Focus in 2019, and the Raiders took a gamble. Agholor was plagued with drops and pass catching issues in Philadelphia, and I don't know why John Gruden and Mike Mayock think that he's going to be able to fix that here in Las Vegas. I think this is a terrible addition, one of the worst signings of the entire offseason. But it isn't very expensive. It's like $1 million, so it's not too bad on his contract. But the biggest addition this offseason was 12th overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft. The Raiders selected Henry Ruggs III, a wide receiver out of Alabama. He was fantastic in the Crimson Tide's offense, where he accumulated 746 yards and 7 touchdowns. He had 11 touchdowns in 2018, but he got 7 in 2019. He should be a fantastic piece for the Raiders to help take the top off opposing defenses. He's got the speed, but I don't like when people talk about the speed. He's got more than that. He's a fantastic route runner, pass catcher. He's a humongous deep threat. No one wants to come up on a one-on-one with Henry Ruggs when it's getting deep. As long as he can rely on Derek Carr to be accurate and make the right throws and Henry Ruggs to get open into the right spaces, then no one knows really how good Henry Ruggs could be in this Raiders offense. Now let's look at the defense. At safety, they have a strong group that includes new addition Demarius Randall, who signed in free agency after a year with Cleveland, and they also have veteran in LaMarcus Joyner, who is a good option. Didn't play too well last year, but he's a solid option and he's a great safety for the Raiders. They added Cowboys veteran Jeff Heath, who is going to be depth. He's not going to play all the time. And let's not forget about 2019's 27th overall selection, Johnathan Abram out of Mississippi State, who has yet to play a snap in the NFL due to injury, but a player I really enjoyed watching coming out of Mississippi State, and I believe a player that has a lot of potential at the NFL level. At cornerback, they've got a very interesting group that includes Nevin Lawson, who in my opinion isn't anything amazing, but they also have second-year cornerback Trayvon Mullen out of Clemson, who was selected for, I believe, 40th overall. 40th overall in 2019. He is good but young and still has a lot to learn, but I don't know if he's the true number one that the Raiders are looking for. In the 2020 NFL Draft, they went out and added 2 cornerbacks in the draft. The first one being Ohio State product Damon Arnett. It was the 19th overall selection, which I believe was a bit of a reach. I believe the Raiders could have traded down and got him a little bit further down. And there was other corners still on the board, like Trayvon Diggs, Jeff Gladney, etc., etc. The list can go on, but there's a few that were still on the board, and Damon Arnett was the one for the Raiders, apparently. But Mike Mayock seemed keen. He seemed like he knows what he wanted, and Damon Arnett was the player he wanted. And also, they added Amik Robertson, who's a very underrated cornerback out of Louisiana Tech. He was added in the back end of the 4th round. I had a 3rd round grade on Amik Robertson, but in the back end of the 4th round, he's a fantastic selection and a solid option for the Las Vegas outfit now to put him in at cornerback. And at linebacker, the Raiders have, in my opinion, this is one of the most underrated signings of the entire offseason. They added Cory Littleton, who's a very underrated linebacker who played a big role in the Los Angeles Rams' 2018 Super Bowl run. And he was one of the key pieces. He was very underrated on that defense because that defense was shining with pieces like Aaron Donald and Dante Fowler Jr., Samson Ebukam, and players like that. But he's a fantastic addition. They also added former Chicago Bears linebacker Nick Kwiatkowski, who signed in free agency, and Marquel Lee was already there. He's an average starter at best. I'm not sure. I think Tahir Whitehead is now gone, so the Raiders no longer have him on the roster. And along the defensive line, the Raiders have 2019 4th overall selection. This was a huge reach. The Raiders have made some really questionable decisions in the draft in recent years. In my opinion, this was a huge reach, and they could have done a lot better. Josh Allen was still on the board. Let's just put it like that. He was sick last season for Jacksonville, 10.5 sacks, and Cleveland Farrell didn't do too much last year. Disappointing rookie year, but mid-round pick Max Crosby, another defensive end, had a way better year, and he was taken, I believe, in the 3rd or 4th round. And he accumulated, I think it was 10 sacks this season. So the Raiders will be hoping for Cleveland Farrell can improve and perform better in 2020. But Max Crosby is now the guy to watch on that defense. His speed and power coming off the edge is unmatched, and I think he's going to be great for the Vegas Raiders going forward. Inside at defensive tackle, they have young monster Maurice Hurst, who is a beast coming from the inside, very underrated defensive tackle. And they also have veteran Johnathan Hankins to also deal some damage from the inside. But no one knows, Johnathan Hankins wasn't too good last year, but he's a solid option. And if he's on the field and he's at his best, he is very good. Now, how do I think the Raiders will do in 2020? Well, the division is extremely tough. But I think, in my opinion, and this is going to be for nearly every NFL fan's opinion, the Chiefs are the best team in the NFL. The Chiefs are going to win the division. They've got the best quarterback in the league, Patrick Mahomes, by a mile. Patrick Mahomes is the best, not even questioned. The Chiefs are going to win the division. And in second place is the toss-up. You've got the Chargers, led by Tyrell Taylor. Justin Herbert is now he's going to be the backup quarterback, I think, from the start. But Justin Herbert is a beast, and I think he's going to have time he's going to learn and grow into a good quarterback. But also with the Broncos are also a young up-and-coming team. Personally, in my opinion, let's get straight to the point. I think the Raiders have the worst roster in the division, but that doesn't mean I think they're a bad team. They have the worst roster. The team is worse than the Chargers, the Chiefs, and the Broncos, but it's still better than a lot of teams in the NFL. Just because I think they're going to finish bottom of the division, it doesn't mean I think they're going to have a bad season. I can see them going maybe 6-10, 7-9 again, at a push 8-8. But I think the Broncos, the Chargers, and the Chiefs are all going to have better seasons. And that's it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to go down and like and subscribe, and also turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Give me a follow on Instagram, everythingnfl_YT, and follow me on Patreon, www.patreon.com/everythingnfl. NFL. And yeah, I will be back tomorrow with a brand new video. See you later, guys.